Yep, there's a fish. There's a fish. Dragging the bottom too. Oh, I foul hooked him. That is not a bass. What is that? Alright, welcome to TMC Fishing. Thank you for watching. Today's plan, we're hitting the small pond again. I was out here last week with the kayak and we absolutely tore them up on cranking, throwing a little flat-sided crankbait. So I'm really hoping that bite's still going. I just had too much fun to not come back and try it again. I've only got a couple hours today, snuck out. So I'm hoping it happens quick. It's a little colder today and we got some wind going on. So in theory that helps the moving bait bite, the wind does, but I don't know about the cold. And being in a kayak in the wind kind of sucks. So hopefully it doesn't crank up too much. But we're going to go give it a go. Come along. Alright, well, here we are again. Back on the water. It's not too bad with the wind on this side. This left-hand side's got all the brush in terms of sticks and whatnot. So we're going to start off with the chatter with this little bit of wind. Kind of fish this this weed line. Now this thing gets absolutely filled up with milfoil as soon as it starts getting hot. And so all summer, this whole left side is really tough to fish as soon as the milfoil gets real tall. But I do love the spring here because all these reeds right there have a lot of water in them and a lot of the big bass seem to really congregate off the edge because the water comes in right there behind them. I tend to have pretty good luck. Over there. There's another little clump of these sticks and brush on this side. Just giving this one last pass through with the bait, just trying to hope. But last time they were out in the open water, so didn't have a whole lot of hopes for this, but had to try. Over here before we crash. Alright, so if you weren't out here, if you didn't see the last video, this is the Googan Flat Banger. So it's a flat-sided square bill. This is what we did really good on last time we were out here. This fire craw color. So we're gonna try it again. See if this is what they want. Now, like I was saying earlier, the conditions have kind of changed. Last time I was out here, is slick calm, no wind whatsoever. It was about 5-10 degrees warmer. The day was. Not that I think that'll make that big of a difference on the water temp, but the nights have been getting just a little bit colder. So I don't know if they're going to get kind of locked down or not because of that. But the wind's making it a lot more difficult to stay positioned here the way I want to. Nice thing about kayaks is if you've got a lure that's got a little bit of drag, you can cast in the direction that you want to go, or at least have your nose pointed towards. And the drag will kind of pull you towards it, as long as it's not too windy. Back here in this pocket, it's not bad. But as fun as this water's been, I really do hope we get some rain, some snow soon. This thing's just crazy low. I mean, I'm fishing in the deepest part of the pond right here, and I'm still dragging bottom at 6 foot. 6 foot diving crank. It's kind of sad. You can see on the bank right here, I mean, how much water it actually gets. It normally gets pretty close to the top of these reeds in the spring with some good water, so she's just dreadfully low. She has the fish kind of balled up, it seems like, but not what I want to happen come spring, because all the good bedding area is up higher in the water column, all the rock. So there's a fish. Right at the boat. I didn't forget my claw this time. Okay. Haha! Alright. They still kind of want the crank. And last time I forgot my little claw here, and getting him into the boat without hooking myself was a lot of fun. But just a little guy, 14 inches, half pound, if that. But still a ton of fun. It's a good sign. Ooh. Oh, yep, there's a fish. There's a fish. Dragging the bottom too. Oh, I foul hooked him. What is it? Is that a bass? That is not a bass. What is that? Is that a gizzard shad? There's no way. There's no way. That was a gizzard shad. That was a giant gizzard shad. Man, I really hope I got that. I tried to flip him and he come off. There's no way. Well, you know, here I am saying there's no way, to my knowledge, there's no shad in here. But that was like a pound. Like, that was a big gizzard shad. Holy cow, that totally changes the game out here. And I didn't bring my big rod to throw a glide or my big softball, you know, my big swim baits, but that is crazy. Who the heck put gizzard shad in here? I almost really want to do that again, just pull one up, just get a good look at them. I really hope I got some of that on camera. But next time I come out here, you best believe we're throwing a glide bait. And that big Bass Mafia swim bait. Because now knowing that tells me there's some gizzard shad eaters in here. That really ups the quality of fish that I think are in here. I think I'm going to start off this whale because I hooked him kind of over here in this deep end. And see how this looks in the water. It's pretty good. Set all the parameters here. Now I'm going to let this sink all the way to the bottom. And I'm just going to pop it up, make sure there's no like debris or snot grass or anything on him, and I'm just going to slow reel this guy back. Try and keep him as tight to the bottom as I can. Now with the 7-speed reel, that's kind of tough, but just gonna try and mentally get myself to really slow down and pick this apart. Now the biggest fish I've ever caught on this body of water was on an underspin. It was the first time I ever fished an underspin in my life. I came out here and not really knowing what I was doing, and like third cast underneath a tree over there, hooked a 4-pounder, and it was the only fish I caught all day, and it was from the bank, and I didn't really know what to do. And that was one of the experiences that told me, that was in December of last year. That was definitely an experience that taught me that the fish don't shut down in the winter like everybody always told me they did. Now with the wind doing what it's doing, it's kind of pushing me from one end to the other, which I don't really have a problem with. I'm just kind of going to let it keep pushing me so I can cover water. Just paddle to one end and let it push me all the way back over. This pass, I'm going to try that lipless. And I watch a lot of these guys that call it yo-yoing, kind of hopping it off the bottom. And I've never tried it before, really, so I'm kind of curious too, because they really don't seem like they want to chase something. The idea behind it is you let it sink all the way to the bottom there. Reel into it and you just kind of lift it. And you try and keep contact with the bait the whole time. So I'm reeling in that slack line. I'm letting it touch bottom. That's what they say is anyways. We're gonna find out if it works here shortly. Oh, there's a fish. Oh! I don't know if I was hung up on one of the branches, but it was bouncing back. And the disadvantage of not fishing jigs very often is I don't know what a jig bite feels like. So that felt fishy. Felt like it tugged back. Also bruised her ribs setting the hook right there, so that was cool. So if anybody's got any tips or critiques or... Oh, I got somebody's fishing line. That's not. Yeah, if anybody's got any like tips or tricks about winter jig fishing or jig fishing in general that you want to give me, I would really appreciate that. We're going to try just the other side of this little pocket. And then, I don't know. It was like taking off. Yeah. I don't know if I was sliding down a branch there or what, but it felt like it was taking off. Now, I really like to throw jerkbaits on spinning tackle if I can. I vastly prefer it than on a casting rod. Mainly because I don't feel like I need the accuracy isn't that big of a deal to me. And I'm not working this like I am in the summer when I'm really just pop 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 pop, you know, 1-2 second pauses. Like I'm gonna give this a good 5 seconds in between pops, and I'm not gonna hit it real hard. You just kind of reel down so it gets a little depth, and then just boop boop boop. You know, nothing, you know, anywhere from 3 to 5 second pauses. And there's a fish. There's a fish. Told you a jerkbait was going to be the best bet. Back that drag off. Oh, you got all the hooks, buddy. There was no way you were coming off, huh? Alright, another little feller, and man, he's cold to the touch, like super cold. Way colder than they were last week. So that tells me a lot about probably why they're not chasing so aggressively as they were just the other day. But that was kind of more or less how I thought that was going to play out. He hit that one on the pause. So once again, we're going to reel down, get some depth, and then pop, pop. Pop. Nothing crazy. In the winter, these fish don't need anything crazy. You're just giving it just little darts, little reactions, just enough to get their attention, and then they're going to sit there and they're going to look at it. And then either when it dies or when you pop it, it's going to trigger that feed response. So it's really it's an awesome lure for every time of the year, but especially in the winter, because you're almost forcing the bite. There he is. There we go. Come here, buddy. All right. And then I hook myself out. Yeah, let's not do that, Tate. There we go. Put you over there. Alright. Another little guy, but on a day like today, I'm not going to complain. Honestly, probably the biggest one of the day. Half pounder. Seems to be all that wants to play today, but they're still super fun on this, especially on the super light tackle. I had to remind myself, last time I was out here, all the fish were super grouped up. It was like where I caught one, I caught several. And so, that being said, I needed to come back over here where I caught a fish and see if they were schooled up. And lo and behold, and here they were. Alright, well, that was the day anyways. It was way tougher than obviously, last week. Came out here and tore them up. Conditions, like I said, had changed. There's a little bit more wind. It had been colder at night. Still got it done, still got a couple. The jerkbait was kind of the anchor there for sure, which makes sense. It's colder water, it kind of forces the reaction bite. A little bit of wind always helps. Caught one on the crank. Was really hoping it would really pop off, and it really didn't. But finding that gizzard shad in here, foul hooking that gizzard shad, is crazy. The fact that there's gizzard shad that big in this tiny little pond is nuts to me. That tells me that the forage is even better in that pond than I ever thought it was. I always keyed in on the bluegill bite because there is some good bluegill in here. And I saw a fish the other day when I was out here on the bank that I swore looked like a big shad, but I wrote it off as, my eyes playing tricks on me. So now I know for sure they're here. So next time, game plan, we're coming back with a glide bait. and probably a big swim bait, and we're gonna see if we can't find one of these big gizzard shad eaters, because there's got to be a couple in there. With the genetics that I know are in this pond, there's liable to be a big one somewhere hiding in this little thing. So hopefully we can key in on that bait and try something new. So anyway, I appreciate you watching, and see you next time.